Devon.
Actually, mate.
Happy birthday, Devon. That is for you. Who is Riley? Riley. Happy birthday, Riley. That is for you. Can you hold it?
What do you say, guys?
Happy birthday. Woo!
Jarvis, any time now. You will all fall before me. Boy! Boy!
How's the blue-haired girl?
Hey there! What I wanted to talk about on this video is final detailing. So this is those little things that you're going to add to your armour after you've finished constructing it, maybe before painting, maybe some of them after painting, and basically they're just all the bits that really bring it to life. And this is one of the most fun stages of building your armour because it takes it from being that sort of just uniform foam construction to kind of really popping out, and yeah, there's a lot of fun just finding all the little bits around the house or whatever that you're going to use to stick onto it. I've got a sort of a mantra, if you like, when I'm making these final details on the armour, that I try and use something in lots of different places on the armour. So I use the same thing in a few different places, and that just kind of ties all the armour together and makes it seem less like you're just grabbing stuff and sticking it onto the armour, and more like it looking like it's being manufactured in the same kind of way. So what I did with the Space Marines, I've used these grills where there's sort of three little grills in a line, and I've used them in a number of different places on the armour. I've used them here on the earpieces on the helmet, I've used them on the forearm there, I've used them on the front of the shins, I've also used them in the centre of the stomach area as well. They are just pieces that I cut out of this panel from a washing machine. This goes on the bottom of a washing machine. It's not needed, it's a rat/mouse shield, so I didn't need it on our washing machine, so I used it. And you can see where I cut these out. I also used them on one of the weapons, the chainsword here. You can see those three grills are near to the handle. And again, I think it just helps sort of tie all the pieces together. Something else that I also like doing is just kind of finding random bits and pieces that kind of look the right shape. Like the ear cups here were just the lids from some containers. On the back of the helmet there, that was packaging from some razors. These little round bits here were the lids of some baby food containers that I like the look of. Tubes were rain tubes from an old washing machine. Helmets, no, not a helmet, skulls. Skulls, they're kind of like a helmet on the inside. These are just Halloween decorations. So I just went to the local doll store, bought a whole bunch of different sized skulls, chopped off the front part of them where I needed to. I shaped the back of it just so that I could stick them on in various places. So I've got one on the helmet there, there's one on the back of the backpack, there's a really large one on the front of the knee there. There's actually a pirate skull, hence the bandana. And there's a few smaller ones just dotted around on the armour as well. I also used different thicknesses of EVA foam to make some of those final details. Like here on the bolt pistol, I got some real thin EVA foam. It's like 2mm, something like that. I've also used 7mm EVA foam, like here on the top of the slide. And for the chapter badge, tactical markings on the shoulder pauldrons are all from 7mm EVA foam. The scroll here on the front of that shin is also just that 7mm EVA foam. The lettering, which a few people have asked me about, is, I cheated. It's cardboard, pre-cut lettering that is sold as for making scrapbooking type projects from. So you just press out the letters and glue them on. So I've used that in a few places on that knee there. On the tactical shoulder pauldron there's a Latin motto across there. I actually really like the way those came out. And there's also another one on the side of the chainsword. Which brings me neatly on to the weapons. So these are, this is just free-handed. It's from 12mm EVA foam. I just got a picture that I like the look of on the internet and kind of copied it, kind of got it to the right size. Made it two-handed grip, just because I kind of liked that's the way that it looked. The grip has a broomstick handle that runs from the bottom here about halfway up the blade. That just gives it some strength so that it doesn't flop around when you're wielding it. And then in the pommel here there's about ½ kilo lead fishing weights that just help to give it a bit more balance so that it's not constantly tipping forward and hard to handle. Some of the other smaller details on, like these little round pieces and these little rectangles and circles and things like that. Just some offcuts of laser cut pieces that I had, but really this is the stage where you can just be real creative. Just look around, find things that are going to work, eye them up and see how they look. They always look better once they're painted, so don't be too put off if you stick them on and they kind of go, it doesn't look great. For Iron Man, the thing that I used that I repeated all over it were the bottom of Coke cans. So I used those to create the bolts on the shoulder joints and also on the elbow joints and on the knee joints as well. Again, it just kind of ties it all in together. So have fun with this stage. Don't go too mad. Just don't throw everything that you've got in your scraps box at it. But you know when to stop. And look, you can always add more later, but it's a lot harder to take it off again if you've added too much. The bolt pistol. I kind of used the template for this. This is a technique that I've used to make a few different things now. Basically, I got a picture off the internet and I scaled that of the side of it. I scaled that till it was the right size, the size that I wanted, and then I just cut out some of the main parts and traced them onto the foam and then cut those out just to give me the base construction for it. So that was used for the slide and the mechanism and the magazine areas, and then from there I just kind of eyeballed the rest. It's not hard to do at all, just give it a go. In this one I also had a toy machine gun that I gutted and put the workings on inside. And in the telescopic sight there's a red LED. I like adding LEDs to the armour for no reason other than I think it just looks cool in photographs. The final thing that I'll tell you about detailing is these purity seals, how to make these. There's a number of different ways you can do it. You can just mould them directly out of things like Fimo or Fimo as sometimes it's called, which is an oven bake modelling clay. I did something different. I made a master out of plasticine and a Halloween skull. This is the remains of it after I scooped it back out again. I built that onto a small piece of wood. Then I built a box around it. Then into that box, which was sealed with hot glue, into that box I poured some silicone casting resin, casting rubber, and made this, which is then a master mould. I then used some red flexible urethane, mixed that up, poured it in, let it set, popped them out, and made a bunch of these. So they came out real well. They look just like wax too, which is really useful. So I didn't really need to paint and varnish them or anything like that. The parchment that's on there with the text on it, let me just get a bit closer. I'll tell you how I made that. So the parchment is actually just a tea towel cut into strips. And to get the text on it, what I did was I printed out on a laser printer some mirrored Latin text and logos. So just used Microsoft Word and WordArt to mirror the text and did it in a Gothic sort of text. Ran it through the laser printer twice so it's got double the toner on it. Then what I did was I got those strips of cotton, laid them onto the workbench like this, got the piece of paper, put that text down over the top of it, then used masking tape around the edges to stick it all down and hold it in place. Got some nail varnish remover which has got acetone in it. Acetone is the important part. You can use pure acetone too if you can get hold of that. Poured the acetone onto the paper until the paper was saturated with the nail varnish remover, and then used the back of a tablespoon to burnish, it's called, to transfer that toner onto the parchment. Now you've only got about 20 or 30 seconds to do that before the acetone starts evaporating. So pour the acetone on, burnish it right away. You don't need to be too precise with it, just make sure you cover all of the text at least once. And then when you take it all off, what you'll have is you'll have that text repeated, but it'll now be the correct way around on the parchment. It does mean as well that it lends a slightly faded effect to it as well, which is kind of what you want, because you want these to look slightly old. Then I just used a cigarette lighter and a heat gun to just to brown the fabric to make it look aged. You could also use instant coffee granules or a wet tea bag to achieve the same effect. It's up to you really. I added some little leather tassels on these as well, so I've used leather in a few different places on the armour, just as an accent piece. My Space Marine has got Celtic heritage, so I liked using the leather because it kind of reminds me of Celtic armour a little bit. The joints in the armour, so pretty simple. The elbow joints are just 2 bolts that run through each side, and there's a nut on the inside holding it in place, and then the arms just spring to pivot on those. You don't need to be too clever with the elbow joints, they don't take a lot of strain. The fill-in pieces here are, get one of these, aluminium ducting. It's aluminium ducting with a lycra sleeve over the top. I just got some lycra and sewed it into a sleeve and put it over the top, and that means that you kind of get that nice non-glossy black effect to those joints. Use the same thing for the knees as well. I'll show you one of those. So there's the knee joint, and the back of the knee joint there as well. Just use exactly the same thing. It's that same aluminium extension. Works really well. Hinges for the knees, just 2 bits of flat stock aluminium with a bolt through the middle, and they're very firmly glued to the inside of the shins and the thighs. But there's one of those vents, the 3-hole vents again. So the thighs are attached to the codpiece with these little plastic buckles. You can see some of the strengthening. I use the edge pieces there. Yep. And then the codpiece just sits on my shoulders because it's got a like a pair of braces on it that just sit over my shoulders, and that means the legs hang off your shoulders rather than being lifted up by your feet, which would make walking quite hard. There's no joints anywhere else on the suit really. The shoulder joints I've already shown you in a previous video, so I won't show you those again. What else can I tell you about? I'll tell you what, I'll tell you about my next project that I'm working on. Look, if any of you have got any other questions about some of the things you've seen on my armour that I haven't gone through, just let me know in the comments. I'll either answer them in the comments, or if it's something that's suitable, I'll put it into a new video. So my next project, this is it. This is part of it. You might know what it is. This is how it fits. One of many parts. It's made from fiberglass, and I'm not going to tell you what it is. You try and guess. If you know, put it in the comments. If you don't know, well, you'll see. I know what I'm going to tell you about. I'm going to tell you about the lights in the eyes. So Iron Man and Space Marine both use the same technique for the lights in the eyes. There they go. You can see through these, and they're quite effective, particularly when it's dark. It's daylight at the moment, so you can't see them that well, but what they are is they're mirrored sunglasses lenses. For the Space Marine, they're red ones, in Iron Man, they're blue ones. Then there's some very fine mesh that you just put over the top of the lens like that. And then you have an LED that fires in from underneath and over the top of the lens. Now this is a white LED. I used white LEDs for Iron Man and red ones for the Space Marine, but it actually kind of achieves the same effect, as you can see anyway. And they are quite easy to see through. Look, if I hold that up there, you can see it's reasonably easy to see through, even with the light shining across them. So much better than, for visibility anyway, much better than having the LEDs kind of shining outwards and then you looking through a slot underneath. If you do that, the eyes will look extremely bright, but your visibility will be very restricted because you're just looking through a tiny slit. And with the Space Marine suit being as cumbersome as it is, then reduced visibility is probably verging on the dangerous, so I decided to use that technique on these ones again. The boots, got small platforms in, they're about 2.5 inch platforms, and I've used these elasticated shoelaces, which means that it's very easy to do the shoelaces up kind of remotely. I can actually do them up through the top of the shin, which makes things a lot easier, and the boots are hinged too. That's not a joint at all, it's just because the toe boxes aren't connected at all, and the sole is one piece of foam, so they just tend to pivot naturally there anyway. Alright, I'm going to sign off, so let me know if there's anything else that you're interested in seeing, and I'll put it together, but otherwise, the next video that you're going to see is going to be some more progress on my new project, so see you then.